My name is Alex McLeod. I'm a digital artist. I work primarily in print and animation, although I do work a little bit in interactive and installation, and sometimes even sculpture. A lot of my work is inspired by the idea of interconnected matter. How we move through the world and how that world moves through us is a really important touchstone for me. Life and death, cycles of rebirth, energy, all those things find their way into my practice. Hmm. I think studying painting at OCAD was one of the best decisions I made in my life because at the time there wasn't a lot of digital programs available, especially for creatives. And as myself, I didn't think that there would be a future in doing what I'm doing. I didn't know that was a possibility. So it was kind of nice just going down the river, studying visual art, studying painting, learning about the classics, and then learning about contemporary art and how people were making art and breaking traditions. And I found that really seductive and really cool because then it meant, okay, this is like punk rock. We could do anything. We could make art in new ways, and that's kind of what's exciting to me, and that's what's exciting to the audience. So I spent a lot of time on the computer growing up. Like I was really into digital audio, digital video, and I thought, okay, could we start using this as a tool? Like once I left school and didn't have a studio anymore, um, and and it works. I'm I'm really interested in simplifying that idea. It can be so abstract thinking that we're all one and that the air that we're breathing has been shared through generations and all of the millions of lives that have come and gone through this world that we've all been a mysterious part of. It's such a big ask to display this or to be able to communicate this idea to folks. So I just take it simple and I'll use like the same kind of materials. So the trees might be made out of the same materials that the clouds are made out of, the same material as the water and the mountains, um, as as a way to show these archetypal elements in our world that are conduits between, it's just like how we breathe, we need the trees, and then the clouds are that visualization of air and movement and temperature. So using very simple archetypes to kind of simply show what is right in front of us was something that was it was profoundly obvious, but then it also felt like authentic. And I'm like, okay, this is a great way to share what I'm interested in. And maybe some folks might see it, might come across what I do and not realize that there's almost like this political or this like ecological bend to it. So they're not feeling like they gotta go to school or gotta feel bad about themselves and how we're treating the environment. More like calling them in to be like, hey, we're all one, we're all connected. Our egos are letting us think that we're different people, but we're all in this together. So let's take care of what we have. There's a lot of magic that happens when you're working with a computer. I think there's a lot of opportunities for glitches, opportunities for unexpected behaviors, and especially as these files get more and more sophisticated, I was finding strange things happening that were really quite wonderful. And it's not dissimilar from how a painter might make a brushstroke that was unexpected, or how the paint might move in a way that they hadn't intended, but they end up leaving it because it it means more there, or it fits and it makes a lot of sense. So I would see these little twists that the computer would do as almost like collaborative elements. Maybe that's a testament to how lonely I am in my practice. But I thought that I'm like, oh, the more complex these scenes get, and especially now, working in engines with interactivity and real-time simulation, how much more opportunity there is for chaos to happen, for the random events to occur that I couldn't have planned if I wanted to. So I can't take credit for that. So I do see very much working with sophisticated technology as a collaboration. as long as you allow it to do what it needs to do and you don't hold the leads too tightly. I think learning new technology, it's pretty fun because there's always like new things that you can do with it. Oftentimes it's accessible, it's free, it's available. It just requires learning and discipline, and I think that that's a really great thing too. So all of these tools that we have, and I think I see them as tools, are all opportunities in an artist's belt to push the practice further and to try new things and to reach categories that we don't even know exist yet. You think about 100 years ago, like the limitation of what art was understood to be, and then now what art is and where it is, and who knows where it's going to be in 100 years from now. So all of these new tools and new technology are a way to kind of see that that blooming of opportunity happen in real time. AI is interesting. It's one of those things that it's very buzzy. Like there's a lot of hype around it, so a lot of people want to see you work with it or have a comment on it. And I was really apprehensive at first because I'm like, oh goodness, this feels like NFTs, or this feels like something buzzy that's going to come and go. But as I'm working more with it, specifically with like NPCs and interactive environments, there is something very beautiful about it as a tool or as a note, in a composer's catalog, because it leaves so much unknown and unexpected, which I'm finding right now really seductive in my practice. In the pieces for this exhibition, I'm leaning a little bit on traditions of the images that I make. So there's trees and there's flowers and there's the foreground, there's the sky. But each one of these elements in this work were generated with AI. I thought this would be interesting. This would be interesting to see how a musician covers a song that's been made famous by another artist. I'm like, if I input images that I've made of my 3D files and upload it to these different engines that can recreate 3D files from images, where does the fidelity get lost? Where does the interpretation happen? Is there hallucination in it? And I noticed that it was quite interesting because it would try very hard to create a facsimile of what I presented to it, but the pedals might be too long on one side, or it might be just a little twisted in a really interesting, strange way, and I didn't give it that information. It just supposed those pieces. So it's a bit of a cover, like going back to the musician analogy, but it's also a bit of an expansion of what these objects can be within the world. I don't have to be the sole author of each one of these archetypes. So it was much an exploration in mimicry as it was in my own growth. That's so funny. I think I sort of answered that question, last question, but let me talk more about. So I'm interested in this one in terms of hanging it in like printing it in fabric and hanging it in more of an installation rather than just printing and framing work. I mean, I've been doing that for 15 or more years, and it's great. It's great to make traditional exhibitions, but I find that to be less creative for me. I'm like, okay, let's print some fabric as scrolls or these giant like pieces of art, and then maybe after this exhibition ends, they get turned into a giant cape that then gets filmed and it's a part of a music video, or maybe then it gets chopped up into scarves and auctioned off or something. Like I see so much more life in printing this way and producing art in this installation nebulous space, because of the life that the work can have after it's gone, which is self-reflective of the concept of what I'm interested in anyways, is the cycle of matter and reuse and repurpose. So yeah, we'll see how this work lives moving forward. I hope anytime I make art, and I really just want anybody, like, you don't have to have an arts background, you don't even have to like art, I just want you to be presented with the work and maybe allow yourself to open up your mind to the potential that there's more out there than what we see, and that and that hopefully they have the feeling of permission to explore what that is, you know, whether that's opening a portal to their imagination, doing something that they never thought they could do or that they've always wanted to do, giving them confidence to do something, or even just to wonder how did they do this, why did they do this, why am I here, you know, all of these really fundamentally simple questions that I don't think we ask ourselves enough. That's kind of the outcome I'd like to see out of this exhibition. Absolutely. So right now I'm really excited. In addition to finishing up the work for this exhibition, I'm also completing one of the biggest pieces of integrated art I've completed up until this point in my career. It's for this like really beloved hospital in the city, and they're glass walls that are printed on. So there's this relationship between the inside and the outside and the printed image, and play and gaming, and so many of my interests are coming together in this, and I think it's going to be really appreciated by the community, I hope. So that's really exciting. That'll be happening for the spring or early summer next year. In addition to that, I'm also working a lot in game engines, making interactive installations and working in play and looking to create experiences that could be released to people all around the world. So they don't have to go to the gallery if the gallery's closed or the gallery's not in their country, or they only have, you know, like 5 minutes to look at art. Okay, here's a little simulation of art. You can download it. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Yeah, it's exciting. A good time.